welcome back. We are in day 2 of Bonnie's World, where I am organically teaching my friend Bonnie how to play this. I hope you all find this useful. It's kind of a general overview rather than a drill down specifically into the details of things. So hopefully it can get you guys up and running. I would call it kind of a basic level tutorial. We have covered scheduling, we've covered skills, we have covered the day cycle, and we've gotten one bathroom up and one bed up. And so today's priority is to get beds for everybody and to get bathrooms for everybody. So let's get everybody moving down here. And once Ren is finished digging this out, they're going to come along behind and build these beds. And because we now have a bed and a bath, I do believe we got an achievement. Bed and a bath. Have at least one toilet in the colony and a bed for every duplicate. And that's how you get the bed and a bath achievement. And now, while Ren is still digging this out and the other two are just kind of randomly tidying or cleaning or whatever, we are going to build the rest of this bathroom. So let's get... Oh, you know what? We need to keep digging this out. Alright, so when he's done digging this, let's dig this also on a 6. We can't put the bathroom here. We need 1, 2, 3 sinks and 1, 2, 3 bathrooms. So we need 4 more here. 1, just like that. Alright, we need to cancel this. That doesn't go there. Okay. And then while these guys are not busy, we'll build sinks. And I am zooming out by using the scroll wheel. Zooming in and out so I can see everything. Alright. Let's make sure that these are set in the proper direction. And we should set up the bathrooms, or the outhouses, now that he is here digging this stuff out. And I do believe we have some copper now, so we should be able to put a door on this bathroom too. Yep, there we go. And we can put a door on this bedroom. And that's going to help. Now, one of the things I want to show you is the room overlay, since that's going to come up. Watch this. Boom. See how this suddenly became a color? Once you have enclosed a room and it meets the minimum requirements for the room type, it'll show in the room overlay under its color, and it becomes a room that gives a morale bonus. So if I hover here, you can see this says latrine, morale bonus, morale of +1. So that's because it meets the room requirements. If I hover over here on latrine, it shows me the room requirements, and it requires a toilet, a wash station. I can't have any industrial machinery in it, so no oxygen diffusers in it, and no power plants in it, or etc. It has to be at least 12 tiles with a maximum of 64. And then you get a morale of +1. Now, if I want to upgrade this later on, I can upgrade it to a washroom, which gives a morale of +2 by replacing the outhouses with flush toilets and replacing the wash basins with sinks. The size requirement is still the same, so however big I make this will continue to work. I think at the moment, this is 64 tiles already. No, this is 48 tiles. So we actually have another 12 tiles, 48. We have another 14 tiles, I think. Let me see here. Yeah, I think we have another 12 tiles that we can build. And that means that when we upgrade this to a washroom, we can space these out a little bit and allow for some decor items. So later on, we don't have to reconfigure the bathroom. It'll be at its maximum size, and we can make it pretty, which will make them happier. And once we get a door in here, similarly, this now is recognized as a barracks, which gives them a +1. And that can be upgraded multiple times. We can make it a luxury barracks, or we can start giving them their own private rooms, which give them a really nice bonus going forward. And that's what I will probably do. I'll probably, when we have a little bit of time, just space these out with doors between and give them like a 6-space room, and then just give them private bedrooms to start with immediately. All right. The next most important thing that we need, if we look at our list here, we have now got our outhouses done on day 1. And we've gotten our barracks done on day 2. We're still in day 2. So if we want, we can actually do our lab. And the lab is important because it gives your duplicants a speed bonus to researching. And one of the things we need in order to research is a research station, which is here in the stations category. So in order to build a lab, we have to meet some certain requirements. Lab is all the way down here at the bottom in purple. It gives you an efficiency bonus, and it has to have at least 2 science buildings and a light source. Well, right now we can only make 1 science building, but we can plan ahead and give it enough space for 2. What I typically like to do is do a little bit of playing around, and here's why. It needs a light source, so I usually like to build it by the printing pod, which is automatically a light source. Later on, I can move it and build a light source, but that's going to use power, and it doesn't really matter where this is built. So it just, in my opinion, is easier to build it by where the printing pod is. Now, later on, you're going to have some additional science buildings. So you might want to reconfigure and put all of them in a lab space. But the maximum size for the lab is 120 tiles. So I don't think you can fit absolutely everything in it. Anyways, I think you need 2 different lab rooms anyhow. So how you organize that is kind of up to you. But this is how I do it, or how I think about it in the beginning game. This ration box, I know, is eventually going to go away because I'm going to build a kitchen. And when I build a kitchen, I'm going to put in a fridge when I have power so that all of my food is refrigerated and it isn't decaying. Excuse me. Which means I'm going to destroy this ration box. This ration box currently takes up 2 spaces, and I can measure it by using my dig tool. It's taking 2 spaces wide. 2 wide by 4 tall is 8 tiles. So that's 8 tiles I'm losing to this ration box. This research station also takes up 2 spaces, so it can go there. It can't go there right now because that's where the ration box is. But eventually I can put the research station on this side of the printing pod. And if I'm going to do that, then I know a supercomputer takes up 3 spaces. So as long as I leave 3 spaces here, I have enough room for 3 stations in range of this light source. And the reason that's important is if you look at the way this light source is set up, the light only goes out to about 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 on either side of your printing pod. And I can check that by, again, hitting this overlay. So it shows me the area the light affects. And light gives your duplicants an efficiency bonus. And then the lab itself gives an additional efficiency bonus. So any buildings that fall within the range of the light are getting a double efficiency bonus. So for the moment, because I can only make a research station and I don't have a place to put this ration box, I am going to put the research station over here. But if I dig out big enough, I can literally move this research station over to here later when I get rid of this ration box and put the supercomputer here, and they will both fall within range of the light, so I don't have to build a light source. And then later on, I can build one more light source to add in additional buildings if that's what I want. Or maybe I just want this to be one room and I'll build a separate room somewhere else with the other buildings. It doesn't really matter. As long as you have 2 science buildings and a light source, you get the lab bonus. But you also have to have a door. One of the things that the research station requires is power. And if I select the power overlay up here, it's going to show me it has a power plug. It needs power. I do not have power. I don't have coal. I don't have gasoline. How do I get power? Well, there is a power category down here, and it has a couple of things in it at the beginning of the game, and one of them is this generator. And basically what this generator does, and I'll put it out here so you can see it, is it's a little hamster wheel that they're going to run on. And as long as it's connected to something that requires power, they will run on this and supply power to the building that it's plugged into. Not very efficient. So what I want to do is stick a battery in here, because I want to fill up this battery so that the battery then provides power to this building. Otherwise, I always have to have a duplicate running. This way, I can have a duplicate run until the battery is filled up. And then when the battery is done being filled up, it will supply power to this building. All right. And now that we've got that laid out, let's prioritize building this pretty high so they get it done. Where is our third duplicate? What is he doing? He's down here idle. Why is he idle? Because he's researching and he doesn't have any jobs. So that means my priorities are set incorrectly. Let's put him on supplying and storing at the moment. And get him moving to help. Maybe. Or maybe he'll just stand around like a dummy. The other thing that you need to do is realize that different skills are required for different things. Whenever they're using a machine like this manual generator, operating is going to be the skill focus. So if you always want somebody to be doing it, maybe you want to give somebody an operating skill. What I usually do is I set this battery threshold so that when the battery reaches 15%, somebody comes and runs on it. And I prioritize this higher than anybody else, so this building is never out of power. Similarly, I prioritize the research building very high, so that my researcher always tries to come and do research. Alright, and I'm going to actually select some research here while we're finishing this up, so he actually goes off and does something. So the next thing that I typically do after a lab is I try to get some basic food production set up, simply because food production allows you to build a couple of rooms. So as you can see, now that I've got a research station in, this research tree is no longer grayed out, so I can click it. And I can scroll out and see the whole tree. And personally, you used to just have the research tree. And this is my favorite way of looking at it because I can see it visually. What I dislike about this panel is that this closes your search. It doesn't actually close this panel. You can't make this smaller or get rid of this. And I wish you could, because I don't really use this unless I'm searching for something. If I'm searching for something, say the coal generator, and I don't know where it is, I can put it in. It'll show me the coal generator here, and then I can select it, and it will show me where it is in the tree. It's in the power tree. All right. One of the things that I can work on next is plumbing. Get water and change out these flush toilets. I can work on food production, which is going to enable me to get a nature reserve bonus, potentially for this area here, because it has enough plants. Or I can work on food production so we can get some farms built. I can expand out this water source and we can build some farms here near the water source. Or I can get power up and running. Now, the push for getting power up and running is that once power is up and running, I don't need a duplicate running on this manual generator. Plumbing requires pumps, which require power. So that's another push for getting power up and running. And eventually food is going to require refrigeration. So that's another push for getting power up and running. So I think the best thing to work on at this particular moment in time is actually going to be to get power up and running so that we can stop having our duplicates running on this hamster wheel. So I'm going to go to power. I'm going to clear the search by hitting the X. And the first segment of power is going to give us batteries and switches and wire bridges, because you automatically start with wire, so you don't need to get that. And then the second is going to give us coal generators and wood burners. And we're going to go straight for the second level of power and let our researcher stand at the research station. And as soon as it has power, he'll start researching these two buildings. We need floor. That's what's holding this up. Let's put that on emergency. And this on emergency, because he's now supplying power without the battery charging. He's just supplying it directly to the research station. I don't understand why he's doing nothing. Hassan, why are you standing around? Oh, because we lost a piece of oxalite and he can't get out of here. That's why he's not helping. That makes a lot of sense. Alright, yeah, come build that so that you can get out of here. Sorry about that, dude. I didn't mean to trap you down there. Alright, so now we got researching up and going. And as you can see, Ren supplied some power. The battery's now full. So now Ren can go off and do some things. So I'm going to start building around this water tank and digging it out, because we are going to need to get to this copper. We're going to need to get to this coal over here. There's more oxalite that's going to help us out here. And in order to get farming up and running, we need a water source. And the water source ideally is better. It's better to just put your farms like right on top of your water source, so your duplicates aren't really running much to get water for your plants. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to, as I'm digging out resources, use ladders as scaffolding. If you look at ladders, ladders cost you 100. That's what the white number is, how much it costs you, and the black number is how much of something you have. So it costs you 100 units of sandstone in order to build a ladder. Whereas if you build tile, it costs you 200 units. And the benefit of tile is that they will run faster on tile. So you definitely want tile in your standard areas. But as you can see with what's happening here, I built tile, and all the resources that were in these blocks that were dug out are now sitting on top of this tile, providing extra work for my duplicates who have to come by and pick it up. And the reason you want them to pick it up is, number one, you want all your coal in one place, so it's easier for them to get when they're supplying your coal generator. You want all your sand in one place, so it's easier for them to get when they're supplying your deodorizers and things like that. So you want your resources collected together so your duplicates don't have to run very far to get the resources they need to supply or build certain buildings. However, that means that you then have to send them out to pick them up unless you use scaffolding. And the reason I use scaffolding is because when you build a ladder, stuff falls through the ladder. So if I come through here and I destroy all of this and I build ladders, all this stuff on top is going to fall through to the bottom. Now, ultimately, I don't really want that, because I don't want all this stuff falling into the water tank anyways, because then they have to go in here and breathe underwater in order to get these items. So the fewer things down here, ultimately, the better. But for digging out resources in general, the best thing to do is just build scaffolding and let it all fall on one level. Build several bins and then just have your duplicates run it into bins just to get it off the ground. Because keeping stuff on the ground is going to give you a decor hit. If I go here into overlays, this one up here is decor. And you can see what my decor is like. Overall, it's red with a little tiny hint of green in the bathroom. And that's because if I hover over this sandstone here, it says negative value minus 76 debris. And it's reading 8 pieces of debris in the area. That's what the 8 in parentheses means. So that means that each piece of debris is giving a negative 9 hit. And it's multiplying by 8 pieces of debris. Oh, no, I apologize. It's not 9. 9 times 8 is 72. But you get the idea. It's multiplying by 8 pieces of debris to get an overall value of negative 76 for the debris in the area. And then the outhouses themselves are providing a negative 54, which is why you want to eventually leave space for decor to offset this. And we'll get to that later. But keeping in mind how your debris is being handled from the beginning will help you have to do less work. So since I'm going to dig out this wash basin, I know some of this is going to fall to the bottom of this, and there's not a whole lot I can do about that. And I know that my duplicants are going to have to travel across to build and to dig. And in order to travel across, they need something to stand on. So what I'm going to do is build across on the level of this pitcher pump, because it also provides them a standing location. And I'm going to have them dig out this area here to square this up. And then I think what we'll do I want to make it this big? Because I can literally build from here, which isn't a horrible way to do it, I guess. We'll basically flood these 2 plants down here, but it's only 2 plants, and then I don't have to actually square it up too much. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think what we'll do is we will start by building the water well like this. And one of the things you want to keep in mind is what you're seeing here. Ren now has the recovering breath buff, whereas Joshua is holding his breath. So when they're working in water, they're automatically going to hold their breath. They're also going to be chilly because the water is going to be cold, and they're going to get sopping wet. And all of those give them a debuff. So their mood is affected by these conditions. Also, if they're holding their breath, which they will do in water or they will do in areas where there's a high concentration of carbon dioxide, like this little spot right here, that's going to cause them to hold their breath, which means they will do whatever they're doing in that area, then they will run out to catch their breath. Then they will go back, do a little more, and then they will run out to catch their breath, and that's a really inefficient way of working. Now, in the case of water, there's not a whole lot you can do, but later on, you can create exosuits, and then breath doesn't really matter. But you do want to keep in mind, managing carbon dioxide is important. So that's one of the things that we're going to work on here in a minute. What do we got? 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 plants on this side and 2 plants on this side. So we only have 5 plants. 2, 3, 4. No, yeah. We only have 5 plants here. So this isn't really enough to give us a nature reserve bonus, I don't think. Or do we only, maybe we only need 4. Let's look. Where's the nature reserve? Nature reserve. Park sign and 4 wild plants. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. We absolutely have to include this plant to get the nature reserve bonus. So that means that we don't want to dig here unless we plan to keep all this open. So what I'd like to do is keep this open enough that this area, this ladder, gets the nature reserve bonus. But the nature reserve has a maximum of 120 tiles. So let's count. This is 3 times 3, which is 9, 11. 11 and 12 is 23. That's another 8 for 31. And another 2 for 33. And then this is another 30 for 63. And that's another 20 for 83. So if we put a door here, and we close this off, this entire area should be under the 120 tile requirement for the nature reserve. Now I might need to close off these little things, but I'm going to dig them out eventually anyway, so it's not going to make a huge difference. But that kind of gives us an idea. So that means that 1, 2, 3, 4, we can dig straight through this to go further down. And we need to, because we need to vent this carbon dioxide, or eventually it's going to overflow into our bedrooms. So we're going to do this to get rid of this carbon dioxide. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that this area with the ladder and down here isn't included in the count for the nature reserve. And we do that by including a door. Oops, actually, which means we can't build there. So we're going to build a door like that. And then that's going to mean that when we get down here to build this stuff, the doors mark the areas. And this will be an enclosed area. It'll go from here, all through here, down to here, down to here, and here. So whenever they go to bed at night, they're going to cross through the nature reserve into their bed, and they'll get the nature reserve bonus. Or whenever they're traveling from here down, they'll cross through the nature reserve, because this whole area is considered nature reserve. Or if they cross through this hallway, this is considered nature reserve. So they're getting the nature reserve bonus for moving around in areas they're going to be moving around in anyways. And this is how you get your bonuses to be the most efficient. Because if you have to send them to the nature reserve to get the bonus, it's a pain. They actually have to be in the nature reserve for a certain amount of time for them to get the bonus. So if you can cause it to overlap a hallway or a segment of ladder, or it's an area they have to cross through to get to a necessity like a bedroom or a bathroom, then you're set up. So, all right, so now we've got some carbon dioxide management in place. Once this is dug out, this carbon dioxide will funnel down and this oxygen will funnel up. And we won't hopefully have to worry about our bedrooms being overloaded with carbon dioxide. And we're starting to get our water tank built. And as you can see, our researcher up here is researching already, so that's good. And he just completed our first level of research, which is power regulation. So now we have the ability to make batteries, switches, and wire bridges. And he will probably continue researching. And so what he's doing is he's supplying dirt to the research station because he doesn't have the materials necessary. Oh, and now they're on downtime. So we are good for day 2. We're actually a day ahead because we've already got the lab in progress and we've got researching already begun. And we have started with our water tank. So in the next few days, what we're going to try to do is we are going to try to finish digging out the water tank, deal with our carbon dioxide problem. We are going to start digging out resources around us, and we are going to research plumbing so we can move this water over here. And then we're going to see where we're at. Probably food management next. We need a food source, and one of the bonus rooms that we can get is a mess hall. which can be upgraded to a Great Hall for a +6 morale. And since they have to eat, every time they go to eat, they'll get the bonus. And this is what I was talking about when we were talking about game setup. And I said, I typically don't leave them on fasting. I typically put them on default because when they fast, they're not going into the Great Hall every day. So they're not getting the 6 bonus every day. If you make them fast, they're only going in there every other day. So every other day, their morale is lower. I typically put them on default, so they're forced to eat, and then they go to the Great Hall to eat every day, and they always get this bonus. So, things to keep in mind. I hope you guys are enjoying this kind of tutorial overview, learning as we're going along. And if you have any questions or anything wasn't clear, please put it in the comments below. And Bonnie, I love you. I hope you're finding this interesting. Take care.